Hi everyone, our presenter today is Professor Jongeun Choi from the School of Mechanical Engineering at Yonsei University. Right? He has been affiliated with the Department of Artificial Intelligence since 2020 and has been a visiting scholar at UC Berkeley, where he received a master's and PhD, as well as assistant and later associate professor at Michigan State University. Welcome.
Invitation, especially thank you, thank Udo and Stephanie for kind invitation to this seminar. And I have a association with this center. So when I was studying 20 years ago, Berkeley, Professor Juran Hai visited as a visiting scholar, attended this seminar. So I know the existence of this center, very, very, very famous. Right? So as introduced, and I'm affiliated with Yonsei, and I'm gonna sell Yonsei a little bit. And was founded by American missionary, and also funded by like Severance. So we have a Severance hospital, number one in South Korea, and very popular in the high rank. And then some celebrities' son attended for a short period. So anytime you stop by Seoul, just let me know. You can visit Yonsei. I hope Stephanie had a really great time here. So I'm going to talk about two topics. First, data efficient reward learning, GP regression, like inverse MPC. And then second, some robotics, visual, group equivalent visual learning. Okay. So this is about how we can copy expert driving strategy, but with a very few expert demonstration. So I assume that most of you know about this imitation learning, inverse optimal control. But first part, we talk about the inverse MPC and inverse reinforcement learning. So this many times we like to copy what the expert controlling the robot, right? So it can be called behavior cloning, just mimic the action of the expert. But if you copy the optimality of the policy, then it turns out to be better. And then therefore we like to pursue inverse optimal control or inverse reinforcement learning. So its objective is to try to infer the control cost or RL reward functions from the expert demonstration. So it started from formulated from Kalman 64, and then later a lot of development in control, both in control and AI community. And normally controller is hard to tune, so we like to tune from the demo of the some nice controller of other company product, right? And reward engineering in RL is very hard. So if you have a good demo, we like to copy them. So that's, but there are some limitations in inverse RL, inverse optimal control, ambiguity and suboptimality and complexity. So normally it takes a lot of experts demonstration. So that's one thing that we like to talk about today. For a quick review, inverse optimal control, for example, we have a plan and then cost function J, and the problem is to by solving this algebraic recurrent equation to obtain the K feedback controller and then plug that in. But the inverse optimal control is first formulated for given the plan and the optimal controller K, and you like to find the associated post function. Like I said, first formulated by Kalman 64, And later on, because like linear matrix inequality LMI formulation exists, and then but the solution is ambiguous. So in our group, we try to make the unique solution by putting some by formulating as a by putting some regularization. Okay, so for example, we could minimize the condition number like that, and then formulate as a convex problem. And this was used to some NIH project before and after the treatment, so that we can see the difference in the optimal cost. Okay. But sometimes it's not feasible. Like this one is convex optimization problem, but you have a constraint, so it could be not feasible. It could be because of the obtained estimated K with noise, right? So it was feasible, but maybe it was noisy. Then we can also provide a gradient descent algorithm to come up with something that matches well with it. And then in the process of the gradient, you can take the gradient. You have a p, derivative of p with respect to the hyperparameter data. So when you have it, you can take the Riccati, the derivative of the Riccati equation. It can be reformulated as Lyapunov equation. It's a popular technique in control theory to obtain the exact gradient. So by solving the Lyapunov equation, you can compute the exact gradient. So by using that, we apply to this rehab problem, and try to gauge the effects before and after the treatment. What will happen to the post function? So you can see it fits very well with experimental data, and then it can be extended to the inverse iMPC, which can deal with constraints, right? So for example, muscles can be go beyond a certain level, and it needs to be constrained. They can be put into the formulation, but you can only deal with a constant cost function like QRT. Computationally, we have a two-level optimization. When they converge, we find those QRT. Then it fits very well with the experimental result as well. So that's a quick review. Then I'm gonna go into the what we did in the also inverse RL. So inverse RL, we tried to find this reward problem. Reward for given the expert data. We like to do it like data efficient way. Okay, so the way we approach, we use the Bayesian approach using the GP. First, we solve many RL problems with gridded reward parameters. So then we have a set of rewards, and then we produce many different policies with a different rewards. And then also that will produce a set of trajectories. Okay. But then using that, we train the because we obtain all these pairs, we train this GP so that when the new expert comes in, we can predict the reward. Okay, so that's a way we make it very expert data efficient. So in this paper, especially particularly, we parameterize the reward function. It's a mobile robot problem. And we pick one single very sensitive parameter, f of x. We model this as a probabilistic expert policy. Then, like I said, we grid it. Then we make many policies. And then we produce many trajectories. And then using those data, we already make the GP model like that. Then when there's a new small few expert data comes in, then we are ready to predict this f hat. So f hat is plugged into the real function, and then we can do this there. So this is like kind of modularized. This concept can be used for the control problem as well. Okay. So I show you some results, and compared to the other, like for example, at the time, like Sergey Levin's students, adversarial inverse RL problem that required many expert data, but we only have a 5 expert demo trajectory. We can copy the aggressive, balanced, or conservative behavior of the robot. So this was aggressive maneuvering. The RL copy the aggressive maneuvering. The human conservative demo, and RL copy the conservative demo. We switch gears. We tackle a little bit more difficult problem. So we found out when it comes to the racing, racer takes a track dependent strategy. So, and we had a project with Hyundai. At the time, we had to figure out with a small expert data, we had to figure out the strategy. We need to copy the strategy. So the track was in-jet track, real track. And then we tried to find the scheduled cost function. It was at the time hypothetical, meaning that every corner we have a little bit different cost function. It's kind of a long horizon problem because at this corner I kind of sacrifice a little bit, but then in the long run I can gain. Okay, so this was simulator that we use, iMPC maker implementation. Right. So our hypothesis was proven by confirmed by a couple of my former students. Like one he had RL that modulate the cost function, and then that modulate schedule cost function put into the MPC for the racing problem. So it starts with the same initial condition, but the scheduled cost function MPC outperform the constant cost MPC. Okay, so that was our idea, and then we know the real driver would do that also. We formulated the time optimal model MPC controlling control because we can keep the fixed length of the prediction horizon, and we try to find the control sequence that minimizes delta t subject to the lag error equal to 0. And then cost function weight decide if the driving behavior would be aggressive or conservative, and so on. Okay, and then we engineer basically we engineer we try to use a GP regression again that takes the input trajectory level features and then produce the output, cost functions, driving style parameters. We found the alpha and beta. It's like latent space, latent variable, but we kind of engineered to find it. So we talk about this alpha is related to racing line, and this beta is related to the velocity. So when alpha is high, and then so they take in between 0 and 1. Then if alpha and beta is high, then become very aggressive, and when they close to 0, it becomes conservative. So that's how we kind of engineer. We look at the data and then do the data analysis and formulated this, come up with this equation. And then use the iMPC driver simulator. Okay, so we have one very good driver, it was pretty good. And then we did the Bayesian optimization to figure out what the alpha and beta would be. Then we modeled with a GP regression. Basically, we perturb this around this bound alpha and beta over the trajectory. Then we simulated 1,000, for example, and then we run through this MPC and then schedule cost function successful MPC like around 900 trajectory. And then we split that into training set and test set. Then, so we can make the GP modeling of different drivers. So this, on the right hand side, you can see this alpha and beta, like GP sampling for this. So this shows, like drivers with the different characteristics. So in the benchmark, we show that it beats most of the other contemporary methods, and also works pretty well in terms of error. And then we compare with the tracking MPC, basically one demo, and then we let the tracking MPC to track this reference. It took it as a reference. And then, of course, this error from the center line is from the reference is pretty good MPC. Then, but we show you, and others, ours is look better, but we can show you why many people just ask why just use the tracking MPC on the expert demo, just one single demo. And then I can show you, in racing, many things can happen. Like for example, there is a car sitting here, the red dots, and then you can see the inverse MPC. You can see because we provided the optimality of the racer. It avoids the obstacle, and then so we just put the perturbation at the beginning, away from this race line, the reference expert demo. Then it quickly finds the optimal path. On the other hand, when you do this mere tracking MPC, you can see that with a large error, it can overshoot, right? So at this time, it's not it's kind of suboptimal for configuration. So it's like I can kind of show you the inverse MPC is much better because it has a optimality of being a racer rather than just following this, rather than just mimic the action of the expert demo. Tracking MPC is like just the behavior cloning, mimicking action of the expert demo. Right hand side also something similar. The tracking expert demo is overshoot. Okay, so I switch gears. I'm gonna talk about different way of data efficient learning. So group equivariant, or in this part, SC3 equivariant visual learning for robotic manipulation. So this talk is based on those papers. And conventional visual robotic manipulation method uses big data, as you know. This was a setup, collaboration with Berkeley and then Google. They purchased many robots, and they do this shuffling, visual learning, for many months to generate lots of data, right? Lots of situations, right? So CPR, has this graphic net 1 billion. It's a simulated object, a large scale benchmark for general object grasping, like that. But in our we like to work with a small data set, but normally it's not generalizable to normal configuration. For example, we train the robot with a cup upright, but then we cannot deal with deep cup with a different angle, right? Because it's sort of overfit to this data. So we can see that why not data efficient, and there's some issue in the traditional conventional conversion neural net. So this deep learning CNN requires big data, the large augmentation, large image augmentation that contains a random rotation of scaling, etc. So to recognize this animal, you need to like rotate them, right? Because when you look at this first version of CNN, the first layer, you can see the many rotated edge filters at the first layer, right? But we like to train a robot with a colored point cloud from scratch, end to end, only 10 demonstrations. So we give a demonstration, then the robot can be used for different angles and etc. So our visual manipulation methods using colored point cloud in 3D space, learned from only 10 human demonstration in a fully end-to-end manner from scratch without pre-training, without object segmentation, without course estimation, without any sort of prior knowledge internalized to the novel object configurations. Like that, we can tilt the cup. And we never train this situation, but you can still, So this is too good to be true, but how is this happening? And we use end effector repropose. We try to make it equivariant to the 6DOF transformation of target object. We try to make the relative repropose invariant to the mock-up. For example, a mock-up is rotated 90 degrees. Then we make sure the relative repropose become invariant. Okay. So this equivariant strategy make us to use a very data efficient way. No need for big data augmentation or SEC group, basically rigid body transformation. You don't have to try to locate the object in various ways, right? So therefore, it becomes ultra data efficient and robust and generalizable. So some of you already know this group equivariant, but I'd like to, for those of you who are not familiar, I'd like to introduce the concept. And basically, let's say SO2 group equivariant. Let's say I have a neural net H, and then G is the group action on the image F, incoming image data. Say if it's a group SO2 group equivariant neural net H, this equation should hold. Basically, you rotate the input image and go through the neural net. The results should be the same as you go through the neural net first without notation, and then output feature you rotate. Okay. So this rotation operation action can be pulled out of the neural net. We call this equivalent. Okay. So this is a movie taken from nice presentation and in this link. basically you generate this. So the upper part is equivariant CNN. Say you get the feature, right, generated by the neural net, and then we stabilize with one angle. You can see it doesn't change, right? But then this conventional CNN, whenever you rotate, the feature map changes with the angles, meaning that with a fixed stabilized view, you can see the feature map changes over different angle, meaning that we need to tag, oh, this angle, this is the dog, this angle, also this feature is a dog. We need many, augmentation of this. And then you need to include, oh, all of these are belong to the dog, right? Or car or bus, right? So, so if you choose equivariant to CNN, you can just have one invariant policy. Okay. Otherwise, if you use a conventional CNN, you have to tag all these different angles. Or this is the same thing. Then you need to make the so it is very robust if you make it using the equivariant CNN. It is robust to the R of distribution, sample efficiency, and etc. So this equivariance is already very popular. It was the de facto standard in ML for example, protein folding, right? So recently, this chemistry Nobel Prize went for these people, or was it Rosetta-Fold and AlphaFold, and so many of this backbone was actually produced for this research. Okay. So we use some of this backbone, and like a couple of years ago, it was not popular in control systems and robotics, but I think yeah. So we propose equivariant descriptor field, and then at the time it was published in iClear 23, and at the time we addressed the problem with the previous work, transport network, and then neural descriptor field has problems, so we address EDF combines the advantage of transport network and then NDX. And so one of the core design principles when we talk about why ours work better, we say bi-equivariance and generative modeling in steerability and locality. For the sake of time, I will just introduce bi-equivariance. So let's see the problem formulation. And for example, mock pick and place test. Input is observation of the scene, like that, right hand side, dotted, right? Okay. Colored point cloud. Okay. And then another input is observation of the aggressive object or grass, and like this, colored point cloud. And then output is the end-effective paper poles, which can be sampled from the policy distribution on SC3. So we'll just talk about bi-equivariance, and then one is bi is a two equivariance property. One is aggressive equivariance. So it doesn't matter where you grasp object, right? So and then scene equivalence, it doesn't matter. For example, the hanger can be perturbed, different angles or different can be translated, etc. So relative, we try through this bi-equivariance, we try to make the relative placement both between the object and then placement target is invariant. Okay, right? So this shows I made this picture. This shows it has an effect of this augmentation of many different samples like that. Okay. So it is equivalent to the how the object is grasped. First one, and second one is where it should be placed in the scene. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one, grasp equivalence, or it's called the right equivalence. So different grasping poses you assume, then demonstration is like that, but then inference should be also like that. You see the relative pose between the object and then hanger is invariant. Okay, so to do that, we assume perturbation. Let's assume that we perturb the object, like delta G, right? A certain action, delta G. But then we need to counterbalance the pose by applying delta G inverse to the creeper pose. So, for example, if the crest pose was perturbed, then creeper pose would be counterbalanced. So that's policy should be the same. This policy should be the same. Okay. So relative this way relative maximum pose is variant. So that's one thing. And the second scene equivalence when the object is perturbed. This is for the picking. Object is perturbed through the transformation of rigid body motion, SC3. Then the creeper should follow with the same perturbation. And placing, for the case of placing, when the hanger gets perturbed by delta G, this whole creeper pose also should follow through by delta G. Okay, so scene of object scene observation is perturbed, then creeper needs to be followed through the same perturbation. So this policy should be the same. So we built a neural net that has this constraint. Okay, so that way we respect this bi-equivalence and reduce the complexity of the test by making the model to only focus on the relative poses. So we can have it has a effective augmentation of many observation grasping in SC3 and many observation of scene with respect to this SC3 information. So this resulting extra data efficiency and then generalizability. So this was first iClear version. It's built by energy method. You can see the there's some unseen target object instances or unseen poses with unseen distracting objects. It shows pretty good results. And when we compare with the state of art technologies, and then we also list bi-equivariance and locality and steerable representation, generative modeling. So EDF, and then I'm going to show you diffusion EDF, all satisfy these four principles, so that it works much better in this benchmark result in terms of mark and vowels for the pick and place. But the one limitation was this end-to-end trainable energy-based method is we use MCMC, and the training time was very slow, like 10 hours. So we switch, we come up with we apply this diffusion model to the second version. So as you might know very well, diffusion model is very popular. It was actually, you're familiar with it, control professor from Australia, Brian Anderson, Professor Brian Anderson. At the time, reverse time diffusion equation, paper was published in 92. Then AI people took it up, then used this idea to this. So he proved that there exists reverse stochastic differential equation, right? There's a forward stochastic differential equation, and there exists the reverse. So AI people use that. For example, it's an image. Then you keep adding noise, so that will correspond to the forward stochastic differential equation, right? Until it becomes a totally white noise, right? You create this data set, and then from this transition, you can now, learn this gradient of low probability, which is called the score function. So once you learn the score function from this noise, you can denoise, right? Denoise to generate some picture or some pose, things like that. So once you learn this gradient of low probability from this data set, you can have this generative model. Okay. So this is overview of Diffusion-EDFs. So same technology, but of course there are some details that we need to figure out. But basically, we collect this expert demo, right? And then we perturb by adding noise, right? Like that. And then from this diffusion model, and make the inference. And from arbitrary pose, we can denoise to get this optimal pose with respect to this hanger. Okay? So this way, we Diffusion-EDF, we made it much faster training, like 15 times faster, like less than 1 hour for 10 demonstrations. And trajectory generation is also possible. Nowadays, there are some papers about that as well. The benchmark shows pretty good result also compared to the state of art. And this is some pictures. You can see right hand side, photo peak, and you could see some, denoising. And then at the end, if I figure out the correct pose to pick up the photo. Okay. It was a faster and stable running and then this one is bulk pick and bulk place. It's also the denoising process of the ND vector. And here we only make an inference of the ND vector pose, and then we use the traditional control to make that pose. Then this was play, like ball with the different colors. So we also found something interesting. When you try this demo with a certain set of color, right? Then the Diffusion-EDF sort of remembers the color order as well. So, for example, when we train it with a red, blue, green, and white, then we're trying to pick it out in that order with a high probability. It was interesting to see that. So, we'll switch gears a little bit. Mentioned that Juran High, Berkeley. I also visited Berkeley 2023, as my sabbatical leave. Then I worked on applying this idea in the control level as well. So, there was a geometrical control before, like geometrical impedance control, but my former student now is doing PhD. He's work on this as in terms of new sort of perspective, and terms of SE3 equivalent control perspective. Right, so impedance control conventional can be formulated into Cartesian space impedance control, but it can be also, for example, Professor Francisco Bullo, his PhD thesis was on geometrical impedance control, and we took a look at this new perspective. For example, we can do the gain scheduling in that. And using some naive behavior cloning, so different gain of the impedance, right, in different stages, and then we try to apply this with a geometric control, but SE3 equivalent geometric control, and then versus Cartesian space impedance control. You can see that when we train it in this control level learning also, although it's just pure like simple gain scheduling, behavior cloning, but when you perturb this plate in different angle in control level equivalent control, learning for the control works most of the time, but when you formulate it into geometric, this not geometrical Cartesian impedance control, default setting works 100%, but when we perturb the plate, different angles, it didn't work at all. So it was very interesting to see. And then we are working together to try to combine this control level and then higher level vision learning level together. We also worked on one problem like scale equivalent object perception, and so when we apply this, because for example, self-driving car, you need to recognize objects, but then if you far away, the scale, the object becomes very small, and then when you move toward that, then it gets bigger. If you look at this scale equivalent CNN, then we use less data, and then with the same data for learning, we make it more robust against the scale changes. Right? So we can see the ID didn't change much for our tracking system. Okay, so I tried to finish within 45 minutes. And in summary, I talk about two topics. One, inverse MPC with closed function scheduling, but we use a GP regression of this sensitive parameter, which will regulate the behavior of the racer, like being aggressive or conservative. And so it turns out it was because GP regression can do a really good job in interpolation, right? So this generates expert-like driving with only few demonstrations compared to other methods. And second topic, I talk about SE3 equivariant robotic visual manipulation learning, where I introduce equivariant descriptor fields, one with the energy based model, and another one, CVPR paper was based on diffusion-based generative modeling, and it turns out to be robust and generalizable with as few as only 10 demonstrations. And conclusion: if you have problems, something similar like that, which body, try to recognize which body using AI. So SE3 equivalence is a powerful tool to model SE3 group transformations. that will lead you data efficient one. Thank you for the coming here, and then thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
Thank you very much for the talk. That's really interesting. I had a question about the first MPC at the start, particularly the case where you had the different cost functions for each corner of the track.
Oh yeah.
The racetrack. Have you or your group ever considered kind of like making that even more continuous, like as like instead of just a cost function per corner, making it like a
right. Yeah. That's a great question. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. The short answer, we use the continuous version.
Okay.
And this was just a presentation.
Okay. Cool.
And then the details, like in here, right inside. So here, using Bayesian optimization, we figured it out what will be the alpha, what will be the beta at those corners. So you can see that it's discontinuous in the active line, but we use the GPU regression to make it smooth and put a perturbation, and then different perturbations so that to generate a different style of driver. Yeah. So at the end, we use the continuous version, but and then those are used for the GP modeling. But in the process of figuring out what with alpha and beta, because it's not like it could be the solution could be not unique per se. So we use a Bayesian optimization to figure that out. What we could figure out, it was sort of discontinuous.
Thank
you.
Do you have any strategies for when your geometric, so in your place manipulator, when your geometric transformation cannot be repeated by the robot? For example, there's a wall in the way and it will try and crash through the wall to put in the same place, or like the group proposed. Do you have any strategies to deal with when the invariance breaks out?
Could you explain a little bit more on your question?
So you said you didn't train the cut upside down.
Yeah.
So, but that's a valid rotation, and so when we try and grab the cut, the robot ends up trying to reach underneath the bottom of the table. Do you have any strategies about how to deal with cases like that?
Oh yeah, we thought about that problem, and then we don't have the strategy. If it's upside down, maybe. I remember my students talk about something like that, but maybe you will pick it up and but I don't recall. I don't recall what will happen, and maybe you will pick it up because it can be upside down, because it's a valid transformation. No problem. I don't think it will be a problem, but I didn't see that case. My students showed me the tilted cup. Yeah, I can go ask. But in theory, you can deal with it.
Any other questions in person? I have one.
Yeah.
Still within the driving context, when you evaluate that table you showed the quality of the prediction.
Yeah, this one.
Yes. What is evaluating? What is the error in this case?
So what we can get is from the trajectory.
Yeah.
So at the end, it's about the trajectory. How close the trajectory? What's the difference between the trajectory produced by inverse MPC and then expert data? Yeah. So that's I think error from the center line, meaning that center line here is the reference trajectory, the expert trajectory, and then the velocity. Yeah. Like,
Because I was curious, if there's any temporal information involved as well. Because driving is not just following the line; it's also how
Right,
fast you are.
yes. So there's a speed. But yeah, it's a good question. Tracking MPC without any perturbation works better in terms of error from the reference. But I can show you, if you perturb, then it can overshoot. So it's better to have optimality in the policy.
Do you have any questions online? Feel free to switch on your camera and just speak. No? All right. Let's do it again.